Thank you, our viewers, for joining us. It's an ecstatic evening. Of course, if you're out there and you're a football fan, you know what has been happening. I'm Karaka Baldwins, and we're going to do the fourth estate together. I'm standing in for my colleague, Mwangusha, who is not able to make it. Perhaps he's in the fiesta for the World Cup, for the win of France. So today we're going to have a discussion on the new propositions by the President of Uganda, who says that the MPs need an enhancement in security protection. Of course, that implies greater funding, more searching for taxation, rather for finance measures to be able to support that particular proposition, and the burgeoning ballooning of how public administration financing and spending is done. So, in studio tonight, I just have two resplendent public service figures, and they're both politicians. And straight away, of course, before I even engage them, indulge them in this World Cup aspect, as we proceed on to the major discussion, I have Honorable Fungaru Hassan Caps, Obongi County MP, and he is also the chairperson, Parliamentary Committee on Government Assurances Implementation, and he is a former member, Defense and Internal Affairs Committee of Parliament. Honorable Fungaru.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm still a member of the Committee on Defense and Internal Affairs.
Okay.
And only that I was Shadow Minister of Defense and Security.
All right, you're in opposition. Which party are you representing?
FDC.
Okay, and in the middle, I have a very great lady. All of us, hopefully, that we know.
The humility, yeah?
Yes, so Honorable Lydia Wanyoto Mutende, the chairperson, NRM Women's League, former ELA MP, East African Legislative Assembly MP, okay? African Union Deputy Rep to Somalia, Amazon, and a lawyer. Lydia, welcome.
Thank you, and good evening to our viewers and listeners.
Okay, definitely we cannot proceed into the political discussion and the firestorm that is raging about this matter without talking about the fanfare about World Cup football that has been going on. Any comments on the spectacularity or the special occurrences of this World Cup? Have you been following it or not? What are your comments?
No, I've not been following the World Cup. I'm not a football fan, but my children and friends and people around me like football. I'm happy that finally I'll have their attention. They can bring back the remote to us and we get back to our normal life. I'm also told that France won. I was not aware who had won, but I've just been told that France won.
But doesn't that make you actually feel like you're totally disconnected from this generation, which is a serious problem? Because some of even the policies that you propound as government are too exclusive and totally unconnected to young people's, current situation, by the virtue that you cannot be able to follow the World Cup, which is a sensation all over the world. Does that speak of the fact that actually you're not connected to the generation?
No, I'm not a pretender. Football is passion, it's a sport. I have other sports I play, I enjoy, I have passion for other things. Football is not one of them, soccer, but I know that my children and my friends enjoy. They can tell me after the game, I've told you that France won and they take the remote and then it's now back to us. So it's, but that does not say that I don't have interest in what they do. I'm a very young, youthful, passionate person about young people. I have an interest in them, but I'm not a football fan.
Okay.
And I don't pretend.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, let's close that. Yes, Honorable Fungaru.
Yes. Football, yes, for me, I've been a footballer myself from school, and in Parliament we have a club of MPs, parliamentary sports club generally, football and netball, we have people there. In Obongi, we have the youth, they are very much interested in football. I am interested in football myself. But it has been more of a disappointment to me to see that no African country, a proper African country, black like me, blue, black like my brothers from Senegal, from South Sudan, that you see your own there also. This has been a disappointment. But we shifted our love to France because we saw a number of people who look like us from there. if you move around, you will see like some kind of excitement in the sense that we are the ones who won, but we are not the ones. It is because of the black people we see there.
See, people are struggling to associate themselves. So
Yeah,
be like me.
But all in all, what is good in sports, I've been telling people, is that let's not celebrate this TV-born games and sports. Let's promote ours. On the ground here, we also want to see Uganda excelling in games and sports. And we want to promote our own clubs, like you see clubs like Onduparaka from the side of West Nile, and in Obongi we have one which has qualified this time around to the regional football. We have a young club called Riverview. That's the one we are, Riverview FC from Obongi, from Aliba Bito. That's the one we are going to promote, and with that we hope we shall sign in the World Cup and we shall watch ourselves playing there. This is what our dream is.
You're talking about football in the future. Football is the present.
Yeah,
we are going
in the future, because
the reason we're going to have tonight's discussion is because actually we feel that you're saboteurs to this very dream, to the prospect of promoting Ugandans or Ugandan children to actually go and be on the world stage of sportsmanship, because you have too much exorbitant expenditure promotion for public servants and parliament, to start with, of course, the executive. And, of course, recently you had the president, in a letter dated June 29th, 2018, to Minister of Finance, Matia Kasaija, and which was shared with all the 456 MPs. Does that even sound right? You have 456 MPs in a population of 40 million people in their pigeonholes, saying that the members of parliament have been singled out for intimidation and possible attack, and that he has decided to protect the MPs as the country awaits putting in place other security systems. It also follows an outcry from a section of legislators for additional security following an increase in cases of kidnaps and murders of women in Wakiso and Entebbe. These crises, of course, that you've been hearing about, and the killing of Muslim clerics and the recent murder of Honorable Ibrahim Abiriga. So, just as we are going through this particular proposition, which has set ablaze, I think, the consciences of our citizens, and people are enraged. Seven says that members of parliament already have some police guards. Those will stay with them. I will, however, add two other elements: the sharp shooters of the army and follow-up pickups that will be used by these sharp shooters. The pickups will be protected in simple ways against small arm bullets. I can assure you they will not be interesting targets for terrorists using Kalashnikovs. I think those are
AK-47.
All right, so this is what the president is talking about. Let me start with you, Honorable Fungaro. If we try to...
Can I conclude on football?
No, football is done. Otherwise, actually, the centrality of the discussion is about...
I know, but we have time. Can I...
No problem. You will come back when I'm... Honorable Fungaro. So let's try to be as objective as we can, okay? Let's try to garner all the objectivity we can be able to generate, and ask ourselves, is there any justification, any positive justification for this proposition? Do you feel there is sensibility and rationale, really, that can be promoted by the president's proposition?
Yeah, thank you very much, my brother. And I would like to thank all of you, my dear brothers and sisters, the listeners who have tuned into this program. First of all, we should understand the background to this proposition of the president. It came up in a meeting where I was present, where the president addressed members of parliament, let me say, where the president had a discussion with the members of parliament about issues of security. That was in the conference hall of office of the prime minister. It followed his address to parliament on security, which was delivered in parliament, which also followed his address to the nation on the day of the budget, whereupon he talked about issues of security emotionally, and that one also followed what happened to us, people of parliament, people of West Nile, people of Uganda, when we lost our own brother, Honorable Ibrahim Abiriga, and his bodyguard. Both of them were shot and brutally killed, therefore, when they were traveling in the same car from town to home. Now, in our meeting in parliament with the president, which meeting was requested by us, members of parliament, because we did not get satisfactory information, or we did not engage with the president when he addressed us. And through the speaker, we told the president that we needed a meeting, not an address. A meeting was better in the sense that the address was one-way communication from him to us, no questions, no discussions. And him as the commander-in-chief, also leader of all the armed forces in Uganda, he would benefit from us when he would hear some views from us, and he accepted. So in that meeting, many things were said, but one of the particular things which provoked this answer was this. Some members of parliament said, particularly those who had been given armed guards in terms of police.
Mm-hmm.
There are some, first of all, we should know this, there are some MPs who already have armed escorts. Police from the VIP section, police from the anti-terrorism unit. There are also some who are guarded by UPDF, ordinary. Others are guarded by Special Forces Command soldiers. These are the ones who guard the president. They are already there with us. But in that meeting, some members said, following the death of our brother, Honorable Abiriga, some of the guards who were provided to protect them were running away, particularly the police. And then a question was asked as to why they were running away. Analysis was done, and what came out was that the police who were running away from guarding the MPs they were assigned to guard said, one, guarding members of parliament in that manner was risky to them. Because you see from the example of the death of Honorable Abiriga with his bodyguard, who was a soldier, by the way, of the UPDF, and also the death of the late IGP Kawesi, together with his bodyguard and driver, in the same car. So it came out that police who were assigned to guard members of parliament while sitting in the same vehicle could not easily react, even if they wanted to shoot. The vehicles were small and squeezed, and they are covered. These are saloon cars, as opposed to the ones you see, the ones of the police, which are designed for escorting people, where there is space for reaction. If there is a need to shoot, there is a need, it is possible for you to maneuver and shoot in that manner. So it was like police wanted to have separate vehicles as opposed to the one where they sit together with the principle they are escorting. Sitting together like this would make it impossible for them to react quickly and shoot. So they needed to have separate vehicles so that in case there is an attack, they would respond more efficiently. That was so how this idea was born out of this.
The idea was advanced by police protection units.
It was
MPs, not necessarily the MPs themselves or the president.
No, it was not
proactive measure.
For sure, it was from the police to their principals, the individual MPs whom they were guarding, and they were giving this as the reason for running away. That you see, I am given to guard you, but the circumstances under which I operate are not good enough for me to do effective guarding. So as a result, it puts your life and my life to risk, and therefore I'm running away.
Okay, so the question is justification. So you feel this proposition is actually justified because it will enhance a better way of securing
in terms of the design, you know, the design of the work, the work to do, even if you are a soldier yourself. You have a gun, you are moving together with your principal. The space is so small. It becomes very difficult to react if there is a situation like that.
So
now,
let me just
you talked about objectivity.
Slightly before I come to Honorable Wanyato, are there any countries that you're using benchmark for to actually make that proposition? Have you looked at the cost implications? Have you looked at the kind of countries that are actually doing that? And the feasibility of this particular proposition? Just because it seems you're okay with this idea.
You see, first of all, you talked about objectivity.
Yes, exactly.
You need to go step by step.
All right.
What is the basis of this call? Then is it affordable? Well, you cannot combine the two together.
That's what I'm talking about.
The issue of affordability is separate.
There has to be benchmarking.
No, there
has to be benchmarking. So are there other countries that are actually doing the same, that are providing security-powered, rather gun-powered and car personnel, follower escort cars, and of course bulletproof cars, so that
maybe in my this may be answered by my sister, but I saw it when I went to Somalia.
Okay, because that's a war-torn country.
Sado, Minister of Defense and Security, and member of the Committee on Defense and Internal Affairs. We went to Somalia,
No,
when we were
Somalia
received,
cannot be a representative picture for...
okay,
so
I want to give you an example.
Another one.
When we went
Talk
to
about a proper democracy. Don't
when
talk
we went
about
to Somalia,
countries.
first, let's get the basis right. I've not given you my judgment or my view whether it is okay or not. But we want to understand where are we coming from, where are we going. That's the best thing. Objectivity should prevail here. So in Somalia, where we saw this kind of insecurity, we were picked from the airport in Mambas, and we were also given body armor. MPs also, because if you don't wear it, if you don't move in that kind of vehicle, you will die.
But Honorable,
that's
you're
the
being
basis.
disingenuous to us. Because you see, if you're making that as a proposition for giving a benchmark as Somalia, which is a war-torn country, and Museveni has been saying that for the over 500 years, apparently in this 30-year period, we are actually experiencing peace. So that cannot pass on my... But let me go to Honorable Wanyoto. Perhaps you come to defend on yourself for that. Yes, Honorable Wanyoto, you are no longer in the precincts of Parliament, but you're a politician, and you actually propel most of these members of yours, who are about 293 NRM members, into Parliament. Are you of support, or are you negating this proposition? Is there any objective justification for this proposition?
First of all, before I say anything, I mean, we need to unpack the whole agenda. There is no cost that you can attach to life. Every life in Uganda or in anywhere in the world is as valuable. I mean, you cannot go to a shop and buy life. So I don't want us to begin costing people's lives to any amount of money. That's why, as a principle. The second, and
so
I hope
implying the costing of the security.
I hope you are going to give me time to talk.
No, because I need to be clear.
No.
I need to understand you.
But I've not even started talking.
The cost of life you're talking about is MPs. Those 459
any
MPs.
life, and give me time to explain myself. And I hope
because there are implications
No,
that
no,
you have
no,
other
no.
40 million people who are actually
you can
suffering.
take notes.
Okay, all right.
Can I give you a pen?
I'm
You
a moderator.
can
I need to make sure that...
No.
Okay.
You can take notes. Before I even said anything, you are interviewing. So
Okay.
take notes so that you are able to have a meaningful conversation. So for me, I know that Honorable Fungaro has given a background to the issue in Uganda. Generally speaking, Uganda is a peaceful country by any standards. There are many indicators in our country that show that we are peaceful, including being the world's friendly host country to refugees. Refugees will never go to a country that is not peaceful. That's one. Number two, is this talk about security was actually propelled by the incidents that happened to us. They've been mentioned. It's public information. But they are but they are very extremely painful, and they're indicators of bad elements in our community. And I want to say that there have been measures in last 1 year or a few months. There have been measures to tighten and get rid of the bad elements in our country, including in the security agencies. You've seen reforms in the police. You've seen reforms in the intelligence. You've seen more vigilance in government, trying to show that things are put right, to remove the wrong elements that had begun to infiltrate. We had women being killed. I have lost 2 brothers. So what I'm talking about is personal also, as a Ugandan. And my 2 brothers were killed. One is older than me, another one is younger than me. So it's not something that we should just have a question and attach a lot of... and it's not a political issue. This is a national matter. Now, the president's role in all this is the commander-in-chief, and its constitutional mandate is that the ruling government must secure its people and the property. So when Parliament invited him to address them on the matters of security, he had also had an interest, because he mentioned it at the budget reading that he wanted to address Parliament on the comprehensive measures on how they are going to address matters of security, because we've seen lapses. That's why he went to Parliament, and I think he was able to list about 9 measures.
There are 10.
Government,
I will
10,
actually come to them, yes.
That government was putting in place. Now, I want to come to the issue of members of Parliament. The President, of course, the rules of Parliament are clear to all of us. It's a given that he will be heard in silence. Those are the rules of Parliament. But because of the nature of this situation, he wanted to have a chance, like Fungaro has said, to have a conversation about how else they can address...
Actually, it was us who asked for it.
Yeah, because in the setting of Parliament, you wouldn't debate, because he's heard in silence, and those are your rules. So he was able to find another time to have a conversation with members of Parliament on how they can work around issues of security, because it's very important that our leaders address these issues collectively. Parliament appropriates budgets, they represent us, but it's the commander-in-chief on the other side. And so this letter, I was actually interested in the letter because it is copied to key institutions. It is copied to the Speaker of Parliament, it is copied to the Ministry of Defense, it is issued to Ministry of Finance, I saw Internal Affairs, I saw the Vice President, I also saw the Prime Minister. These are the
and then
key...
it is foisted into the pigeonholes of all
open.
members of
Yeah,
Parliament.
because they are the
Yes.
subject. Now, during the conversation, and for me, I am privy to documents of about 3 or 4 female members of Parliament who had been thrown these letters. There are these letters they call Bivalua, where they say we will come for you tomorrow. And for some people, actually, like in Nasan and Wakiso, when those letters, and Masaka, when those letters were thrown out, actually those guys went and they got killed. So I know members of Parliament who have received such threats. I've seen their letters, and they've been able to express this fear to the Speaker and to other members of the community. So when their president comes out to say, members of Parliament have expressed fear and threats to their lives, let's handle this matter, and he gives those proposals. It's in the purview of the people that are responsible, that have been copied, to sit down and see whether this matter is implementable and give advice. It's not like it should happen
was
yesterday.
there a census done to actually find which MPs?
I get very surprised when you want. No.
I need you to be
for me, actually, I was listening to you
Would
asking.
you tell us that there was a census that was done
We
about
don't benchmark
MPs?
people's lives.
No, but you
We
see,
don't.
there are Ugandans elsewhere who are dying. Actually, women were being killed. Museveni himself came up on television and said that
No.
I could not make
We
a
don't
reaction.
benchmark
I could not
people's
make a
lives.
reaction until actually MPs were they started killing the soldiers. They killed the assistant inspector general of police. They started killing this particular MP that has just been killed, Ibrahim Abiga. And that's when the president responded. So if you're talking about this decision having made on the premise of people who are being threatened, was there a census that was made in Parliament to provide which number of people were actually reporting those threats? And then we juxtapose them to the rest of the number of parliamentarians so that we make a very reasonable decision rather than making a reaction, because there might be other causes that are leading to that particular, perhaps. Not let her respond.
I've just said, and you have to listen. You know,
I'm listening, and that's why I'm making interjections. Because
you are not listening.
It is not a monologue, honorable, because this is a discussion that is in the public domain.
You know, if you want me to come here and watch TV, you will look at it, I will keep quiet. Because
was there a census done about
no, you're not
threats?
going to ask me straight questions, which answers you want.
So,
I am an adult of a mindful and some level of intelligence, and I'm able to explain my case. In the beginning of this, I said that we've seen comprehensive reforms in government security agencies. I said that. Didn't I say that? And I said that these changes are geared to securing all Ugandans. And I also said that every life in Uganda matters. And I've also added that if there is a member of Parliament, individually or collectively, who feel threatened, government has responsibility to secure them. These are high-profile citizens. Some of their work requires that they are vulnerable. And it's a given. The leader of opposition of Parliament has even a lead car.
Yep.
The speaker has. These are profiles. We must respect our leaders and know that the nature of the work they do is they're exposed to it. And I cannot come here and play their constitutional role. We elected them. They are constitutional in office. They are threatened by virtue of their work. They have expressed it. I have seen threats to the letter. But that does not mean that the rest of us in Uganda, the government is not caring about it. I've just said there are reforms. And I can tell you as they follow that our security agents are not sleeping, but they cannot come to Red TV like I've come here to tell us what they're doing ABCD. Uganda is a secure country, but we have elements that are
but now the MPs who are representing the people are extremely insecure that they have this exclusive prerogative to exorbitant security expenditure. Let me just give you numbers. Okay, Parliament has been allocated in this particular financial year 483.7 billion Uganda shillings. You have 426 MPs, okay, and of course inclusive NRM MPs are 293, FDC are 36, DP are 15, UPC are 6, independents are 66. I'm just making sure that I'm breaking down that, and Uganda People's Defense Forces is 10. So the cost areas of this proposition are that you have 2 police guards, you have bulletproof car, you have 2 UPDF sharp shooters, and maintenance and remuneration costs of these provisions and operations. So if you can speculate, and based on your earlier discussion, where is this money going to come? You have 426 billion, rather 483.7 billion Uganda shillings appropriated to that. And of course, with different, the wages, I think, are going to about 60% of expenditure. Development, which is the construction of your parliament, is going to about 40%. So where is that money going to come from that is being proposed with these cost areas which are indicated here?
Can I just mention a second before Fungalo comes in? I heard the Speaker of Parliament acknowledging receipt of the President's directive and saying they are going to study it with those responsible people that had been copied the mail, and then they'll be able to assess the situation and deal with the case by case. That's on one side. I've also seen members of Parliament individually coming out and saying they don't feel the sense of insecurity that requires those lead vehicles and covered. But there are also members of Parliament who feel threatened. Why don't we give chance and time to the leaders of Uganda that have been given this responsibility to come out with I want us to imagine and to believe that we have leaders that are responsible, that are frugal with our resources, that want to secure us, but also make sure that those who are threatened are also catered for. I just want us, even especially the media, why do you want to imagine that you care more about Uganda than the leaders that we've elected?
This show is actually called The Fourth Estate. It is the
That's
other
why
arm of government.
that's why I'm talking about the
I've
media.
given you figures. I don't want you to be quite sentimental, okay?
No,
I've
I am
given you
not.
figures.
I'm actually,
telling
I
you
feel
that you have
surprised
a
that
number
you
of
guys
MPs,
think
which is 426.
that the Minister of
The
Finance, that the
appropriated
Speaker of
budget-
Parliament
the
does
appropriated
not
budget
feel frugal
amount
resources.
is 486 billion Uganda shillings, okay?
So what's your problem?
And you listen to the cost per MP. You need 2 police guards. You need a bulletproof car. You already have a car, which is about, I don't know, 100 million shillings. 2 UPDF sharpshooters, maintenance and remuneration costs of these provisions and operations. You're doing social media tax. You're doing mobile money taxation. And you are being this obscenely exorbitant in how you are protecting the MPs, as if they're the only exclusive club of human beings in this country. Anyway, Honorable Fungalo, so tell me,
who
where
said
is
this what is going to happen? Who said it's going to happen?
This is a directive. Honorable Fungalo, what is
This
where are we
thing
getting
is
this
going
money
to
from?
be
You
studied.
see, the discussion was started from a wrong premise.
I
Yes.
can't understand this.
First of all, you need to look at the logic. What is the problem? First of all, will also this solution work? Suppose you have all the money and you bought these vehicles, you provided the sharpshooters, you provided the police. Are the MPs going to be safe? Ugandans have died of poisoning. I asked the president in that meeting there, that Your Excellency, you are putting attention to the issue of guns. But there are Ugandans, including members of parliament, who have died of poisoning. In the 9th parliament, we lost Honorable Serena Nabenda, a woman member of parliament for Butaleja, and my own sister from West Nile. She originated from Maracha. Even in this 10th parliament, my own woman member of parliament, Honorable Dr. Joyce Moriku, survived narrowly from poisoning. She survived from poisoning. And actually, members of parliament, including many VIPs who are not members of parliament, worry about death due to poisoning. We lost the investors from prominent hotels here in Kampala. They were not shot. They died of poisoning. And the president admitted that reports given to him indicated that those investors who died in Kampala here, one in Sheraton and another one in Pearl of Africa Hotel, were proven to have died of excessive amounts of narcotics to the extent of poisoning and killing them, and they were from the same source, which means some kind of foul play must have been suspected there. So if you provide guns, you provide bulletproof vehicles plus sharpshooters, are you going to save the MPs from getting poisoned using sharpshooters?
So the idea
You can have all these things, but
Okay.
you die.
So the idea is not feasible.
The
And
idea
you cannot
is
get the money.
it cannot work
Okay.
to make people safe. Secondly, there are also other people whose lives are in danger. They are VIP. What we are talking about actually is, in security terms, it is the concept of VIP security.
I understand.
Now, if you
But
look at the
prerogative,
VIP in danger,
it's
it is not only
overstretching-
us. Look at this.
It's
first.
overstretching the prerogative of
judiciary,
that protection.
The judiciary, if you look at the judiciary, the late Joan Kagezi died of similar causes, a similar case like this one of our brother Honorable Ibrahim Abriga, which means all the judicial officials can be put to be people at risk like members of parliament. Now also you look at Major Kigundu. He died of a similar, in a similar situation. He was gunned down. Therefore, UPDF officers and men who are escorted in that manner, they are also VIP. Then also you go to the police. The top officers of police who are also given escorts like us, who sit in the same car, are in the same situation. If to protect the people properly, you need a separate vehicle which must be armored, you need sharpshooters, you need police. It means the total number of vehicles actually Ugandans will be worried about is not the one for MPs, which is 459. You add the one of the judicial officers, how many of them are there, how many lawyers, from the lowest to the highest courts, and also the state prosecutors, add them there, because they are also in the same risk.
Okay, so in other words, this is not a viable proposition.
This one,
it's not fundable. We have no resources.
Yeah, for me,
and I'm wondering how the president
I agree
came up
with one
with
thing, that MPs must not die. For me, that's what I say.
Yes, and
number one, they must not be shot, they must not be poisoned, and they must be protected. But the question is this approach viable? Can it work out? Can we look for another alternative?
It seems it's actually not viable.
This is what.
Okay, Honorable Fungaro and Honorable.
But I really, my colleagues and myself, we must be
come
protected.
Back, yes, and continue about this. And we ask ourselves: is actually our parliament becoming a problem when such decisions are being propounded? Of course, including the executive. Thanks our viewers for keeping with us. I'm Karagao Boardrooms. We'll come back after this short break.
Introducing Kiri Soda in 4 different flavors: lemon, mixed berry, orange, and Kiri Cola. Celebrate life with Kiri Soda.
Let's celebrate life!
Financial literacy brought to you by NTV, PwC, and DFCU Bank.
Trying to know how much do you need and to do what, and do you clearly understand the project? Because the question is this: if you're coming to sell to me an idea, if you don't understand it, why should I give you money? You come to sell me an idea and I'm asking you, okay, I ask you a few questions about your business plan. Yes, you want to sell what? Goats, okay. Goats, yeah. And do you have a market? We are thinking that, you see, immediately to me that is a red flag. Because you don't understand what you're doing. So if you decide to go into a project, and even Warren Buffett says that before you go into anything, understand it. If you can't understand it, you're wasting your money. And the funny thing is, what he says is that when he's analyzing opportunities, he has the smallest bulk of papers here, a bigger one, and the largest here. Where the smallest is where he wants to put money. The slightly bigger one is where he thinks there's something here. But the biggest of them all is where he thinks, I don't understand this, I will not put money there. So when you go meet a financier, you need to be articulate and know all your things and the project inside out. Because if you end up getting a question that you cannot answer, there's no way he'll give you money. And you remember I told you, think these things twofold. If you're the one who is analyzing an opportunity, somebody has brought a business plan, and they're telling your chama, we need funding. This is something else you need to check to. Ask a few questions. Find out about what they're doing. All those questions. Then you'll gauge if they're serious about it. Because I cannot give you money to do what you don't understand, but you're selling to me that you very well understand it. So this is very key. You need to understand that. Is the project viable? The future you're proposing? Because you might be selling an idea that will be obsolete 10 years from now. We are together. For example, you're telling me to partner with you in a business that is, for example, doing newspapers. That business, unless something else happens, it's a business that is slowly becoming obsolete as people have access to what? Mobile phones. So if you're busy there selling me and telling me and offering me a very beautiful story about how I can own a section of a newspaper, I'll tell you, I don't care. Go and sell it to somebody else. Because even if I buy it from you, I'll have a problem selling it to somebody. So as you approach a financier, these are questions you need to ask yourself. What is the future of this business? Do I see it growing? Is it a business that my next door neighbor will start, or is it a business the people close to me. I come to your bank and I want to tell you, give me money to start a mobile selling shop. I want to buy stock and come and sell phones here. My next door 10 neighbors are selling the same phones. It doesn't make sense. Then you come to me and tell me, why don't you buy some equity stake so that I can buy stock? I'll tell you no, because I can see there is no future in this business. So make sure before you approach any financier, this is something you can properly articulate to them, that this business has an opportunity to expand, and 10 years, 5 years from now, I see it being this way. Because if you bring a proposal to me for funding, I don't care how beautiful the project is. I'll ask you 5 years from now, how do you see it? You'll tell me ABCD. 10 years from now, then you start telling me, 10 years, I think after the first year, we'll see how we can. Red flag, I won't offer you any funding. So you need to know your things inside out before you go there. You'd rather have the 3 people who understand it, who are not even necessarily officials, going to meet the financier.
Financial literacy was brought to you by NTV, PwC, and DFCU Bank. DFCU Bank is regulated by the Central Bank of Uganda.
Tomorrow night.
Maria Laura, it's me. Who else? Camilo Preciado.
It's for me, and it's private, okay?
Let's go, Rosa. Let's leave her alone because it's private.
Yes, and later you could explain to me why you jump every time the phone rings. You've been acting very weird, you know.
Camilo? Are you speaking with Camilo, with my Camilo?
I have had it, Roman. I don't need either your opinion or your jokes. After all, this is my own problem, huh?
All right. I just wanted to help you out, but it's up to you. I'm leaving now.
Listen.
Tomorrow night.
Thanks our viewers for keeping with us here at NTV. We're coming to you live from the Campus International Conference Center in Karagaa Baldwins, and we're discussing the proposition made by the NRM government to have all MPs, 65 MPs, and of course other VIPs are being told by one of the contributors here that they are intending to give them police guards, intending to give them sharpshooters of the UPDF, armored cars, and of course other expenses that follow that up. And there are discussions on Facebook. I'll just continue making citations as we go on and during the discussion. Let me just make one particular citation from Andrew Jala on Facebook. He says that killers are smart and adaptive. If you make assassinations via commute difficult by installing sharpshooters, they will simply poison these MPs of their porridge. They will poison their porridge and have them die. Ugandans are smarter. This is Mariam Nakalule. Smarter 10 times before the government. Just check on what is going on. OTT versus VPN. All of us who are on VPN, all of you are on VPN, you know what I'm talking about. So, Honorable Fungaru and Honorable Lijo Wanyoto, nice to have you here. Now, let me just give you the breakdown of Uganda's parliament budget 2018-2019. Just 3 components. The recurrent wages are 86 billion. Non-recurrent wages are 329 billion. And the development vote, which is 104, the sector to fast-track the construction of the new chamber to achieve improved efficiency and effectiveness in legislation, is 66 billion. A total of 483.7 billion. You have agriculture allocated 914 billion. You have water and development allocated 1.2 trillion. And you have social development 209 billion. So,
what about defense?
Defense, security is allocated 2.1 trillion. All right. So, in the context of this discussion, the question I'm pushing, many Ugandans are actually feeling that Parliament is now a serious burden. It is a sort of nuisance to public, resources and the weight of supporting it, and of course the extra other public entities. But starting with Parliament itself, can't we actually do away with Parliament? Because it seems Parliament, you're a problem to our nation. You're passing things which are completely, I think, impetuous and dangerous to the advancement of our nation.
Now, you see, the discussion of this security matter should not be made a money matter.
But it is...
First, listen to me first.
All right. All
you
right.
see,
yes.
When you focus only on money, you miss other things. Now, if it is focused on money, has it been answered that this money is going to come from the parliamentary budget? There are angles where actually the president or the security departments have been using money which the public has not been paying attention to. There is what is called a classified budget. For me, I came from Obonge today. I wanted to ask the president. I'm yet to get my letter because this letter was put in my pigeonhole when I was not there. But I got the soft copy which is put for us via social media. Now, where does this money come from? Is it from the classified budget of Office of the President or State House? Because there are some monies which are used for patronages. This money which is put classified budget for State House, classified budget for Office of the President. There's also classified budget for the police, Ministry of Internal Affairs. There's also for the UPDF. People should look there. It may not be getting more money from the basket, from the consolidated fund. It may mean sifting monies here and there, get from here, put there. Let the president and the Minister of Finance answer the question. What do you want to do? And where are you getting it from? Where are you getting the money from? What are you going to do for the judges? Because the judiciary also has this problem. What are you going to do for the women? Are you going to provide also armored vehicles and sharpshooters to protect the women who have also been the first victims? And actually, more women have died than members of parliament. And then what about the Muslim clerics? Are you going to provide every person or every group of people who are in this danger of being shot? This kind of arrangements, will it work out? That's how it comes out. So for us as Ugandans, we must also look at this from other angles other than the angle of money. What does it show about our country being a democratic country, a peaceful country? For me, I don't agree with the assertion of my sister and other people that Uganda is a peaceful country. Peace is not the absence of war. Peace is not when you don't hear gunshots. Here, even we are hearing gunshots. Security is defined in two angles. There is state security and there is human security. The state of Uganda, comprising of the territorial integrity and sovereignty of our country, our laws, we are not being faced with the threat of being colonized or our territory being torn apart or annexed to another country. Therefore, the state as a state is secure. But the people are not secure. Human security is a big problem. These murders of people, you have home break-ins. There are fraudsters stealing money in banks. People are getting kidnapped. So the human beings in Uganda are not secure. That's why you see this sense of insecurity in members of parliament. Now, it is not only members of parliament who are complaining. I tested something and I saw the reaction from the public. I boarded a taxi from Matuga coming to Kampala. And I wanted to see what was happening. Now, when I told the taxi driver that, let us go, I will pay the money for everybody who is here. Let's not stop on the way. We go because I want to go to town faster. People, there were 4 women who told the driver, stop, kidnapper. When I told them, don't stop on the way, let's go to town, I'm going to pay the money, all of them ran out of the car because they were fearing being what? Kidnapped. I saw something on TV and I wanted to find out, and it worked out. It gave the answer which I wanted. So there are people who are living outside there, they are very insecure. They fear getting into vehicles. They fear moving with the phones like this. The phone can be snatched by thieves who are here in the country. So what kind of security are you talking about? Human beings in Uganda are not secure. People have lost money in banks. Corruption, siphoning, even myself. It is on record. I lost money through a bank, 126 million shillings, which was stolen from my account. And also there's this thing called identity theft. They create for you some kind of information to access your account.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
privacy
no-
is being evaded.
Yeah.
So Ugandans are not safe.
And I understand your outcry, Honorable. You
So
see the
we
challenge
should not
with
look at this
the
on
challenge
the side
with
of members of
having a
parliament.
discussion with
Only
politicians.
that the members of parliament have the ability
Honorable
of
Fungaro.
being heard. What about the women who are
Yeah,
outside
the
there?
challenge of having discussion with politicians is that they don't actually answer the actual questions that you've been asked. I'm asking, is Parliament relevant? So let me ask.
Parliament is relevant. That one, if you
Honorable
want to give
Wanyuto,
answer.
based
First of all,
on these.
if you close Parliament, this regime of Museveni is going to be like the one of Amin. Which
Okay,
Museveni doesn't
but
want.
it's almost in that state.
You see,
By the way, there's a
that's
rubber
why-
stamp on how Parliament makes decisions by the directive of the President.
That
and if
one
nothing
is what
done-
you should address.
So, Honorable Lydia Wanyuto, based on the impetuous nature of how decisions are made, how Parliament simply rubber stamps any kind of ridiculous policies that are advanced or directives that are made by your President, do we need Parliament? Because it seems Parliament is our problem.
First of all, I'm trying to reorganize my frame of mind, whether you're a discussant or a moderator. Then finally, I want also to make up my mind whether we are discussing a coherent topic for this evening. Whether we're talking about a budget, security situation in the country, the president's whatever the relevance of parliament. Let me try. I think we need parliament. It's a constitutional institution in our country. We are a growing democracy, and it's very important that we grow our own democracy and that we need representation of people. We need the people whom we can relay our issues as wananchi, and they represent us. So for me, that's a given. It's even constitutional. We need an institution of parliament, and I think so far we are struggling to grow democracy in our country. Despite the challenges, we are on the right track. Secondly, I was trying to find my feet again on the debate on the table this evening. I think that the directive of the president, in the spirit and letter, speaks to a temporary measure to address threats of individual members of parliament. And he's been able to highlight the agencies that should be addressing this. And at least I've heard the speaker say they are going to study this letter. It's addressed to a particular institution of people. Secondly, I've just said, and I want to repeat, I'm very proud Ugandan, by the way. Even if you may think that I'm maybe out of the reality, but I believe that Uganda is a safe country, because I know what happens in other countries. At least I'm not confined in Uganda. I know what happens in other countries. We have a safe country by any standard. We have state-of-the-art security agencies. They just need to be supported, to be facilitated. We have very good professional institutions in security. We just need to support institutions, and then we should stop being alarmist. Honorable Fungaro.
Yes.
Even if it were me and I was in a taxi, I can't imagine a stranger saying, "Don't stop, I'll pay." Who are you? Are you going to pay? You know, you are an alarmist, and you're the ones that are causing fear in our country. And even the media, it's good to them on the fourth estate. Media in Uganda, you owe Ugandans responsibility. You're also supposed to be nationalists and stop being sensationalists and alarmists. The problem with Uganda
I'm giving you facts.
is you should stop
you
being
see,
alarmist.
Wanyuto, you're being sentimental.
No,
using
no.
facts. I've read to you out all the particular the advancements
the
to Parliament in
president
this
issued a directive, which is going to be studied.
Yes. So you cannot attack media when I'm using facts. I'm not using my sentiments.
Only giving you
and you're
highlights.
not using actual facts. You're just using your sentiments. Which facts are you using? Because we are talking about the appropriation.
Okay, you can debate. I shall listen to
so
you.
No.
When you're ready, you let me talk. Because we can't talk.
Do
both
not
of
make
us.
an attack on an institution that is actually helping to advance the very objective.
If you can stop being alarmist, it will help
There's
Uganda.
no alarmism. These are
I'm
facts
going to
we are dealing
explain
with,
why.
and I will not agree to
Ask
that.
me why. No, you don't have to agree with me. This is my opinion.
Because
you invited me. Ask me why, then I'll answer.
Okay, why?
The president issued a directive. Before it's even studied by the people in agencies or leaders as copied the two, you are already trying to give answers and screaming your ways to the airwaves. And I'm saying, give chance to the institutions that he has directed to come up. If the Ministry of Finance comes up tomorrow and say, with Parliament, we are going to give all these vehicles, that, like you have saying, because it's not sustainable or even attainable, then we will stand with you. But you've gone ahead to say what the Speaker, Minister of Finance, has not yet done. And I'm saying, please, reduce your speed and give chance these institutions to do their work. But your mindset and whatever is you rubbish anybody. You don't want to hear about parliament. We
Okay,
have
so
these are institutions.
do you know that most
I have
of the
told you why I
directives-
think that the media
most of the
should not
directives
be. You are
recently-
the cause of insecurity in our
Recently,
country.
we are debating the mobile money taxation, this over-the-top taxation, and it seemed like it was a joke. It was passed. When we were discussing the issue of age limit deletion and making sure that you have the permanent perpetuation of one president, it came as a joke. We discussed it, and you said we were preempting it. All these things have come being proposed as jokes, but they've actually been implemented. So why shouldn't I?
Please.
No, don't make me feel
But
ridiculous
yeah,
because I'm giving you
Be a
facts.
little modest.
Okay. Okay, I know you're trying to make this dramatic, but
No,
these are
it's
facts.
not, but really, I think.
So Museveni has advanced most of these propositions, which
No,
look like jokes.
Don't say Museveni. He's the head of state.
Yes, okay, the president.
This screen is being watched by Ugandans. We have a president. His Excellency the president. You may not like him, but he's our president. He's
Okay,
our
yes,
president.
Funga.
You
Now,
see,
now
my
just
brothers
let
and
me first
sisters who are
advance.
watching over
These
there.
are the 10-point strategic security agenda announced by the president, which you talked about. One,
Yeah,
he needs
he's the head of
gun
state.
recording and prints. He needs, secondly, he wants all motor vehicles and motorcycles to get new electronic car plates, which are equipped with a tracker. Then he's proposing that there should be no hoods. Fourth, that there should be helmets. Then fifth, regurgitation of the same thing, street cameras. As somebody who has been involved in security for the last 50 years, I can tell you that criminals can potentially evade any other form of detection apart from the optical, the camera, the eye, and the telescope, he said. Sixth, he says forensic lab. You need to have a forensic laboratory. Seventh, flying squad. We shall give the UAVs, drones, motorcycles, and light helicopters so that they can arrive at the scene faster. Eighth, social media control. Ninth, truck scanners. That time of week authorities should be over. The scanners we have are not enough. We have to cover all borders, points, airports, and landing sites. And lastly, lean force. And he says that we have well-trained and equipped standing army that is backed by a strong reserve force that can be called up to back it up when it arises. So the president keeps on regurgitating literally the same particular propositions, you know, and it seems there is no coherent strategic pronouncement to society about the security welfare of all Ugandans. Do not only specifically close yourself off as VIPs. And this comes on the backdrop of many things. There was a change of that particular article to entrench the president permanently, okay? So that is one of the influences likely, because that are causing this particular national insecurity aspect. Are we ignoring that? Are we...
You see, that's why I wanted us to approach this problem from a different angle. The angle of cause and effect. What is the cause of this situation?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the factors influencing the insecurity, and you go back to the other types of security which we have to deal with, you will get to understand that the measures proposed by the president will not work. First of all, we need to ask our president, are all these measures designed to solve all the security problems that we have? For example, the issue of poisoning is not covered by that. And you look at the security, even you observe the president, study him alone. Where he goes with his cup of water. He doesn't eat anywhere. He doesn't sit on chairs, even if you are my sister. Like I've not seen her making the president sit in Mbale or eat in her house. Even if you are a member of NRM 311, yellow from top to down, the president will not eat where you eat from, which means he fears poisoning. And we have seen people poisoned. We have seen army officers who have died in questionable circumstances. The late Kazini was not poisoned, but we were told he was hit by an iron bar or something. The late Brigadier Mayombo, the late Aronda Nyakairima, we were told, okay, he died of an illness. But what is in the courts, the public opinion is different from what is stated. Now, what about this threat of poisoning? What about this iron bar hitmen? What about the numerous other causes of death which have occurred to the people of Uganda? School children burnt in their dormitories. We have hostels of universities. Recently we had Makerere University Business School moves here, a hostel set on fire. Makerere University main campus, a hostel is set on fire. plus many other things which have happened. So there is a degeneration of the state of security in the country. Just this thing of MPs to not be looked at in isolation. Look at it in consonance with what is happening outside as a whole, so that you design measures which can address the whole issue of human security in our country. And it has social, economic, and political implications. Now, if you look at the political angle, which is where you are touching this issue of the accessing of state power and the departure from state power. If people of Uganda don't believe in the rightful measures of using the law, the laws are not durable. The laws are made here, they are removed now. The issue of term limit, the issue of age limit, it now makes people impatient. Those who think they're supposed to be in power also. Look at the history of Uganda. Uganda has never had any democratic and a peaceful change of power. Now suppose you have all these things, you have cameras, and you have people who are armed, people who have also countermeasures. You know where they are, you can even see them. Because those who are coming to fight you, you know they are there. Will you need a camera to say that where are they? You know them, they are rebels. Like the NRA rebels were known to be in Luero. Were there no cameras at that time? So for us, we should look at issues. Which issues should we keep at and which ones should we avoid? We should avoid this thing of change of government necessarily by use of force. No army is strong enough to withstand a people that want to fight. Look at Gaddafi, look at Saddam Hussein. Look at General Siad Barre. You've been in Somalia, my sister. The current problem of Somalia started as a result of people removing a strong president by a force of arms, and later on the different groups failed to agree on the form of government that should be put in place. And that's how Somalia has descended into that kind of chaos. We don't want that kind of thing. Okay. One of the solutions to the security problems of Uganda, which President Museveni should think about, is himself leaving state power, and Uganda stop thinking of saying, shoot down somebody or do this and that in order to get to state power or to remain in parliament. To remain in state house, you must use guns, and remove this element of how people get to state house and how people get out of state house.
Yeah, and on that note, let me get to Honorable Wanyuto. So, Honorable Wanyuto, what Honorable Fungari is discussing is that actually this might not be necessarily a general security crisis. It's actually a crisis that is generated by political actors who are abusing, who are just playing lottery with the public population, and the public is no longer disinterested, is so disenchanted, they feel abused, and you are having a prop-up of this kind of criminal conduct that is actually generating this, and it's not being addressed. When the president is addressing this matter, he makes it as if there's no political actually undertone, there's no substratum that is politically generated by his own mistakes, by your own mistakes as an organization, NRM, and the parliament.
The challenge we have, because of liberty, is everybody in Uganda wants to behave and talk like their security experts. We have the freedom to talk about our security and stability, but we should also know that we have limitations, because it's an area that has seemingly a lot of expertise. 60% of the security management of our country cannot be exposed on cameras and TVs like we are talking. So for you to imagine that that thing is being done and we are so exposed, that we are so vulnerable, it's not true, because I know that most of the work is done covertly and that people are working to secure our country. Uganda, I want to be on record and look in the camera, is the most stable country in the region. And I'm saying this without blinking because it's the truth. We're even securing our neighbors. That's the fact. So when we have lapses and these matters we've been seeing, it does not mean that the world has come to an end. We have a strong government. We have specialized security. We are the most stable country in our region and Sub-Saharan Africa. That's one. I was listening to you. There are fundamentals that we must say so that we build confidence in our countrymen, and we tell them that we are fine and that Uganda is not going anywhere and that we are secure. We have lapses that have caused people to be killed. These things happen, but the good thing is that we have been able to up the game, and that there will be better measures that are going to address it. The 10 points the president raised before Parliament, these are technological advancements to enhance the security of our country. And they are not out of context, because we've gone IT, and there is now cyber crime. We have transnational crime around the region, but we have to improve intelligence. We have to improve the evidence-based intelligence so that we are able to get the criminals and get them to court because of even terrorism. So if you are going to begin having your conversation in a small box and don't look under the context under which security has been able to be exposed to matters of terrorism, to IT, to technology, then you lose the point. So for me, I don't want us to be leaders that are alarmist and cause fear among the people, when in actual fact, we are the most stable country in our region. When in actual fact, we have challenges, but they are not insurmountable. And that is the truth. Don't go back to a taxi and tell people that I'm going to pay for you and don't stop. You are scaring people. Why to pay for people?
Listen to
don't begin mixing things. You know, the president, they are doing amendments. No. If we've come here to discuss security, I want to tell Ugandans that we have the most stable country in the region.
But we're talking about insecurity.
Yes, we are stable and we are secure. We are the most secure country in the region. Number two, the changes and the measures that are being put in place is because they are improving on technology to enable us get criminals put to book in time, be able to expedite process of securing us, and live to the state of the art of the current dynamics of security, including terrorism. That's what I wanted to tell you. When they talk about your money being stolen in the banks, that's why we have IT banking, we have online banking, we have gone IT, and these are some of the things that are now checking security. So we have better trained security personnel, because we must now be part and parcel of the connectivity of and globalization. There are challenges that are coming out, and Uganda cannot be left behind. The globalization comes with the challenges, and the challenges also expose us to security. But that does not say that we should be able to come here and lament and scare everybody. It's not true that Uganda is insecure. That one you cannot convince me.
That's
and
right.
It's not true.
Okay, Honorable Fungaru, before we go for a break. Yes.
This one is a chairperson of what? NRM?
Yes, Women's League.
Women's League. I am not an alarmist. It is the MPs whom you are their chairperson who are the ones making this alarm. So where are you going to?
There are 293 MPs that show.
So the alarm is,
you went to a taxi and told people that don't go out to I'm going to pay.
You see, the problem
Stop
we have.
scaring Ugandans.
First of all, the people who are scared, number one, are the ones.
Why did you do that to those innocent
No,
people?
Okay,
I
just 1 minute.
mean what I was
Honorable
doing.
Funga, complete
First of
up your
all, I am a
point.
person
Yes.
who doesn't want to live out of reality. There are many MPs who cannot go to Arua Park here. They cannot go downtown to interact with the public. It is the MPs from NRM who have security guards. This request for security, these armored vehicles, actually, the request comes from them. And it is the MPs from NRM who have
That's
UPDF.
not even
It
true.
is true.
There
I
are
attended that meeting.
There
Well, there.
of opposition without security.
We are talking about
NRM.
We are talking about ordinary MPs. If you look at now that level, what are you going to say about the deputy speaker?
But if they have
what are you
been,
going to say about the
if
speaker?
they have been
No,
threatened,
but that is the reality. So why do you talk about me
they have
being
been
alarmist?
threatened.
So
Okay.
don't call me an alarmist. Actually, I'm
You go to
defending
a
your
taxi
people.
and you begin saying, don't
Okay.
stop, I'm going to pay.
Oh,
Why? Are you a
that-
conductor? Are you a
Honorable members,
conductor?
That
no,
was-
the discussion.
that was
The question was about
my-
asking whether this is a
So, you
general,
see, my sister
a
is
general
not-
criminal security aspect,
my sister is
or
not
it's
being honest.
it's a security
I
problem.
am a
that-
very
People,
honest
the
person.
people who have brought up this issue openly are members of parliament from the side of NRM.
Yes, and that's
And
why
I have accepted from my being even opposition.
Yes.
Because I don't want to lose a colleague, even if he is also from the side of NRM.
Yeah.
So this is a person who feels threatened, this person to be protected.
Yes.
Honorable Briga doesn't belong to the same party with me,
Yeah.
but he's my brother. When he died, it was very painful to me.
Yeah.
So when I hear these MPs today saying that they are being left by the security arrangements, the police which were provided for them, and the president was saying, okay, why are the police running away from you? The police are not running away from me. They are not running away from the leader of the opposition. They are not running away from any opposition MP. They are running
it's
away
just a
from
particular
NRM.
crop of MPs.
Yes.
That,
So we are saying,
yes,
yes, Mr. President, you want to protect these members of parliament? Okay, protect them. But if you provide them with armored vehicles, will they be safe from other threats?
Yeah,
Now,
exactly.
if you protect them alone, what
Yes.
about other people?
Okay, Honorable, I need to go for
this
a
is how
break.
we are moving. So don't just
And
brush aside
that's why I
and say
actually-
I
that
am not
Uganda is a
brushing
security.
it.
And
We
for
are a
me,
very secure
I want to
country.
tell you
And,
that in issues of security,
That one, we are a very
You
secure
cannot-
country.
We're a very secure
Lecture
country.
me.
Yes,
Your
we
perception,
are.
of course, but there are people who are
It's not
feeling
a perception,
insecure.
it's a reality.
And
It's a
Honorable
perspective.
Funga, for me, what I requested for, was there an audit done to actually count the people who said that they were being threatened? That wasn't done, and so this is simply.
Now, let me open for you.
Let me
When
first,
the president
we'll
came
do
there,
that when we come back. Thanks our viewers for keeping with us. Let's go for a short break and we'll come back. And when we return,
That can
we'll
be
take
done.
your phone
And
calls
not-
and cite some of
People
the
who feel
comments made
secure,
on social media.
they are
Thank
known,
you
they
for keeping
can
with
go
us.
there and get secure.
Financial literacy brought to you by NTV, PwC, and DFCU Bank.
Now, structures. The lady from the investment group in Uganda. Structures. Documents that you need to have as part. Memos and articles, because these are the ones that form how the company is going to be run, constituted, and all that. You may not start there because it will be a cost at the beginning, but in terms of structures that will allow it to be professionally run. Along the way, memos and articles, shareholder agreements, investment policy, business plan is whatever you want to engage in as professionals like us. It's always good to have a business plan that puts the case of the viability. We call it the commercial and financial viability of that business. That's very, very important. Then, along the way, you have all operational and memos procedures. See, like the bank we started, to get a license from Central Bank, it's not easy. We had to do like 14 manuals, operational manuals, you study. Yeah. As part of the licensing process, you need like 12, 14 types of manuals. Risk manual, asset manual, operational manual, human resource manual, that's the kind of thing. So it is very, very important that you know the business you're going into, that you are aware of what are the requirements for them. Work plans as in like where you want to go. Strategic plans basically talks about the direction in terms of 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, blah, blah, blah. That's the kind of thing. But I think these are very, very key documents that you need to know. Do you have them in place? And so that you're able to grow your business.
Financial literacy was brought to you by NTV, PwC, and DFCU Bank. DFCU Bank is regulated by the Central Bank of Uganda.
Tomorrow night.
Maria Laura, it's me. Who else? Camilo Preciado.
It's for me, and it's private, okay?
Let's go, Rosa. Let's leave her alone because it's private.
Yes, and later you could explain to me why you jump every time the phone rings. You've been acting very weird, you know.
Camilo? Are you speaking with Camilo, with my Camilo?
I have had it, Roman. I don't need either your opinion or your jokes. After all, this is my own problem, huh?
All right. I just wanted to help you out, but it's up to you. I'm leaving now.
Listen.
Tomorrow night.
There are so many things you need to win a tender in this town, from knowing the right people, experience, tax clearance, expertise, trade license, registration, and so much more. But above all, you need to know about the tender to bid and win it. That's why you need the Daily Monitor. Read tenders every Tuesday in the Daily Monitor for government bids and tenders, private sector projects to NGO contracts. Don't miss tenders every Tuesday. Daily Monitor. Tenders every Tuesday, truth every day.
Thank thanks our viewers for keeping with us. We are coming to you live from the Kampala Serena International Conference Center. This is the Fourth Estate. And on social media, there is a litany of responses, and let me just set out some. Tam Shamwe says that when those threat letters were given to societies and people complained, what measures were put in place to help us? None, totally nothing. We didn't see police vehicles and guns, but to opt security in our homes and paying abled men to keep watch at night, meaning that actually response to insecurity is only to the people who are in power, and especially when people close to the center of power are threatened. Ugandans, then I have Van Polo. He says that tell Honorable Lydia Wanyoto that all those MPs and the president himself are voted to office by us, the citizens. And they are given their mandates. This is a country, not someone sitting in a room. It's a nation. And stop fooling Ugandans and respect our tax money. And you are not doing us a favor, madam. And please secure the nation, not those so-called MPs. And lastly, Brian Kasimbi, my last question is, one buying such car with bulletproof, will that actually solve the problem of insecurity to our country? Last time, it was buying CCTV camera, and I want them included in this financial year, and how will our MPs meet us with the electorate with such cars? Please don't waste our small funds. We have thanks watching live. All right, thanks for your contributions, and right there you have a mixture. Yes, Honorable Lydia, it seems most of the
first of all,
and we're going to have phone calls just as in this segment.
First of all, I've seen that there's been a process of the street chiefs coming to brief Ugandans about the state of the street. I think they should continue so that they can come and tell Ugandans how far they've gone in improving measures of securing people that were hitherto attacked using those letters that were thrown, like in Masaka, Wakiso, and they should be able to come. I've seen them once. They can keep periodic coming to explain, because I don't want to do their work. They are there and they are better informed. But what I know is that they're not sleeping. They're not just sitting back because this is gone. Secondly, now that Honorable, I'm not a member of Parliament, but I'm a leader, and I don't want to come here and begin playing to the gallery. So, but I would like to ask Honorable Fungaro and his colleagues. This is a matter within Parliament and within government. Sit down and review this issue about the threats with among your colleagues and come up with something that works for your colleagues and works for the country. As you push to secure the rest of us who walk on the streets and who move in public means and live out there. I am not a member of Parliament, but I'm a leader. But I do not want to come here and lambast our leaders and make them look like they don't know what they are doing, because they've led us this far. And I vote. Someone saying they are voting. I also vote. That's why I think that the people I vote are better than those of us who are not voted, because I'm a politician. And therefore, we should give them a chance. For me, my issue is we should not politicize this matter. That's one. Number two, security has no discrimination, does not have party lines. It's for all Ugandans. Number three, in our constitution, in our leadership code, there are people whose jobs, by nature of their virtue of their jobs, by protocol, they are more vulnerable to security than the rest of us. So that's a given. It's a fact. We may not like it, but we're supposed to secure them. They are our leaders.
Just
so when I see Honorable Fungaro going into detail about the protocol details and the security of our president, Fungaro, even the leader of opposition is secured, because by the virtue of that office, constitutional, we have to secure them. So as leaders, let's not poison the population. Let's get the street chiefs here to come and tell us how far they've gone in securing us. You can come with them here, you're on the Committee on Defense, and fire the questions. But fire the questions when you have facilitated them. Facilitate them so that they're able to deliver to Ugandans. Where I stand as a national, I am very sure that our country is safe and that we have the means to secure ourselves. That one I cannot debate. And even if we were not secure, this is not the forum to say that. We have forums where we don't have to be alarmists. We go to a forum and be able to secure our people. Yes, because you must have closed sessions to talk about.
You see, my sister, who do you tell that they are secure? You want to tell Ugandans that they are secure?
I'm a Ugandan.
When they are the ones to tell you whether they are secure or not? How do you tell Ugandans who are the ones to tell you whether they are secure or not?
But
You want us to tell Ugandans that they are secure when they are not secure.
But I'm a Ugandan.
That's wrong.
I
You cannot
But you are an exclusive. Okay, you have. Oh, okay.
Ugandans outside there are the ones we ask. Maybe
Are you saying I'm not a Ugandan?
you should tell us that.
No, in
I
your
am not
view,
a member of
I think
parliament.
Honorable Wanyoto, you
For
say
me.
in your view, you feel you're actually secure. But
And
of course,
I've said I'm giving my
you
opinion.
know that the pedestal,
For
that
me,
you stay on, and the prerogatives, the protection
I am
of set
just
power.
a common
You are-
man.
No, you're the
blame
chairperson
us.
of Women's League NRA.
So,
you are
yes.
not ordinary, and you know that you're the people in power. So I think we need to be honest.
What are you
about-
talking about?
So you
No,
are
we're talking
protected
about
with
members
this
of
kind
parliament. We're talking about
Yes,
members of
Honorable
parliament.
Fongaru, just after that, we need to understand how does the population protect itself against this kind of predatory, measures and policies that are extortive, they're somehow impetuous. How does the population, the ordinary people, get to actually stop this kind of impetuous behavior by
First of
our
all,
government?
I want to hammer home this point that it is not us to tell Ugandans that they are secure. Ugandans
I'm
feel
speaking
it.
for myself.
Okay, so what should Ugandans themselves, the ordinary Ugandans do?
feel it,
Honorable
and
Fungaru,
we see it
the
from
responsibility
them.
of the
Now
citizen.
they have told us that they are not secure. That's number one. Number two, one thing which is required of them is neighborhood security, personal consciousness, and community consciousness to beef up the security. General Moses Ali, when we went for the when the people went for the burial of Honorable Abirga, appealed to the people openly in the morning ceremony, in the burial ceremony, that you see, you Ugandans, you assist the government in improving security. And I thank General Ali there for being honest, because he was appealing to the Ugandans to assist the government in providing security, because the government is inadequate in this time.
No, that's what that
is what it means.
That's not the concept. The first line of security is yourself.
Now, President Museveni himself said
Yes.
he is going to recruit LDUs, local defense forces. These are people recruited from the community, trained and armed.
That's
so
why we are very
we are going to
about
the
these
people.
LOC elections, because the
We
first
are
person
going-
is your own community, your neighborhood.
So you must accept that there's a problem
No,
with
we are part
security.
of government. All of us
But
are
here,
government.
the problem you have here is the denial, living in
There is
denial.
no
That
denial. I
is
speak the reality. You guys are so angry. You are
No,
mad
no,
at
no,
people,
no.
but begin with yourself.
And for us
You
as
have to
members
begin-
of
what
the
have you done for
opposition,
yourself?
members of the opposition are with our colleagues who are from the side of NRM. We agree that this is not a partisan matter.
Yeah, it shouldn't
And
be.
we are with them.
But also you should sound
That's
so.
why we want to tell them that
You
let us
sound
be
like that.
objective.
Don't mix things.
Let us be objective. Let's look at the
You are not,
options.
don't sound so.
No, but that is what we are saying.
Okay,
You see?
so at
We
the
are
moment, I
objective.
think
So we are telling people,
Honorable Fungai needs to
instead
get
of
some
protecting,
calls from the public, because our time is really run.
Yes.
And we've driven the point home. Okay, I think parting shots I would wish, of course, from you is how
Let
we encourage the
security
public.
chiefs come
Yeah.
and build
And the
confidence
public
and
itself how
tell
we should-
people how far they've gone in securing.
No.
Those periodic calls are
so,
important.
Yes, Honorable Wanyoto. Yes, good evening, gentlemen. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is James. I'm calling from Masaka.
Nice to hear you. Your comment or question, sir?
Yeah, I'm worried how Lydia Wanyoto is arguing here, because she says people are secure. Then you are the one saying they should buy those armored vehicles with sharpshooters over to shoot who. And I don't understand where is she basing herself, say people are secure. When a lot of women are being killed, these girls are being just picked from the park, they are killed. And she's talking out of reality. I don't think really she's in touch with reality, as if she's from Mars. You're a mother. Many people have lost their daughters, more than 20 in a short period of time, and you say they are secure. So why didn't you propose to Museveni, to the president, that they should now guard them with those members and so on? Why are you being selfish as MPs? What unique criteria do you have? There's nothing. There are other areas you should look at security in terms of the country, not just a few people who are just taking every resources in the country. It's very ashamed, really, to find that this kind of argument, we have it in this nation.
Thank you so much, Sai. Brilliantly done, delivered a viewpoint. Somebody else? Hello? Good evening.
Hello.
Yes, gentlemen, your name and where you're calling from?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Nice to hear you. What's your name and where you're
Yes,
calling from?
thank you for the program.
You're welcome. What's your name?
Yes, I'm called to
Perez, yes, from where?
So here you're calling from Twitter.
All right, your question or comment, sir? Briefly as you can.
Sorry?
Your question or comment?
So I always just keep a problem appreciating that we have high-profile people in Uganda, when actually they are just benefiting themselves instead of benefiting the country. They're just feeding on everything they come across.
Yep.
You people of NRM, I think that's just an entitlement that you have. Lydia Wanyoto, please, you care for this country. The saddest thing is that the NRM is always supported by those people who are completely wretched with the earth. They do not know what is taking place. They are dying. They are not educating their children. They are not having something to eat. At least those ones who are in opposition, at least where the training centers are in this country, they can realize that NRM is not doing anything good.
Thank you so much indeed, Perez. Last caller, time is really badly spent. I just need the last caller, then we conclude this discussion. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, gentlemen, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm called Robert and I'm calling from Bundivujo.
Nice to hear you coming from far. Your question or comment?
Yeah, it's as if I'm dreaming, as if I'm not understanding. I hear just that lady there because she's seated on the right seat today. She doesn't know what is happening deep down here. I think the entire problem is the genesis of trying to restrain Ugandans in regard to the financial bit of it, because these people here are so hungry, they want each and everything. They want to extend their tenure, they want each and everything. So at the end of the day, when you squeeze the nose too much, it reacts by coming to its defense and it produces blood. So MPs and whoever is saying the country is secure, when they are asking for security, I don't know whether they are really into their senses. Please, members, help us. We are also Ugandans. Let us share the national cake. Lydia Wanyoto, I think for you, you are talking because your children are safe, you have the security, but mind about us. We all belong to Uganda, please.
Thank you, Robert. And that closes the cause. Apologies on making them short, but because of time elapsing. So I'm going to let you respond to this, and this will be your parting shots.
Of course,
yes.
The issues have been raised to me, but I think Mr. Moderator and the media at large, this is a fourth estate. It's very important that we do not poison and politicize security. And I want to say this. We have security chiefs in Uganda. I think there's been a media briefing, a joint media briefing from them. I've seen one of them which has been very good. It should be periodic. Let them come and tell Ugandans periodically what measures have taken place. Even mentioning areas like Masaka and areas like Wakiso where people have suffered recent days and what they've been able to do on one side, but also the relevant government agencies, the social part and the justice component. If somebody lost a person through a murder, how far has the justice system gone? This information is important, and your role in this as media is also very, very important. The other issue is to say that if I come here to give my opinion, it's not because I benefit from the system. I've just said I'm not a member of parliament. But for me, I cannot come here and begin lambasting members of parliament or the institution of parliament because I am not one of them. No, it's because it's our institution of government and that we should give them chance. This Fungaro with his colleagues is on the Committee of Defense. Bring your opinion on how best your colleagues who are threatened should be secured. Bring out how best the Wananchi who are outside like ourselves can be secured, and be progressive and be positive. When you go out as leaders and begin preaching poison and begin lamenting and causing scares, it does not provide. You poison the community, you poison the world. And the first, you see, we've just finished. Let me conclude by saying that we have just concluded the LOC1 elections. I wish we did not have to elect members or LOC1s. I wish they were appointed, because this is the first line of security for any community. To account for who is on the village, the neighborhood watch, to be able to know who is moving from one village to another. People have perimeter walls. What's happening in those perimeter walls, we don't know. People are in urban centers, we don't know what's happening. We need to watch over each other, have village watch, and campaign to secure ourselves before we can secure others, and help government to help us. Intelligence is very important. Intelligence comes from us. To say we've seen a suspicious person on the village, you call your security chief, you call your area member of parliament, you call the chief on the village. We need to be vigilant as nationals to be helped by security agencies. Intelligence is important. Neighborhood watch is important. But also, the messages that we come out with leaders is very important. You cannot come to a TV like this one and you sound bitter, you sound alarmist. It doesn't help. We should be progressive. That's my parting shot. And if anybody thinks that I've said this because I'm NRM, it's unfortunate. For me, I'm a normal Ugandan who thinks positively, even under the most difficult situations, because I think we have a contribution to our country, and that's it.
Of course. And
yeah,
NRM
that's it.
chairperson,
Yeah, I am. And I want people to know that we can get out of difficult situations if we are progressive and we support our government and we support agencies and we give out, beginning on the village. That's why for me in NRM, we were very vigilant on electing LOCs because it was the beginning of securing our country. They are going to be the first call for security from the village, whether in town or in the urban center, whether in the flats, in the perimeter walls. And if all of us have that mindset, we are going to have a better country than we have. I'm not saying people have not suffered. I've not said people have not died. But I'm saying that's not how a leader should look at it. We cannot now come back and start crying and fighting and lamenting about a government for which we are part of.
Thank you, Honorable. Honorable Fungaru, 3 minutes are yours. I need to wrap up this show, please.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes.
First of all, my sister, we need to start from the basics. Basic number one is to admit that there is a state of insecurity. That's why the president has come with that proposal for members of parliament. We have not had the proposal for the judiciary, for the judges. We have not had the proposal for the soldiers of the UPDF who also get gunned like Major Kigundu. We have not had the additional proposal for the police, for the women, for other people. But we all accept that there is a state of human insecurity. Now, as a member of parliament, but also from the opposition, who is supposed to provide alternative policies? I look at the policies of the government. Where there is no need for alternative, we say, okay, this is okay. But where there is need for alternative, we must first of all tell Ugandans why that one is wrong and why we need an alternative. Now, in terms of security approach, the strategy of this government of recent is very wrong. Their priority is regime security other than human security, other than even state security. A lot of resources are put in place to make sure that the regime stays in power, and they call that security. A lot of resources are put in place, for example, to watch on the opposition.
But
to make
listen first. Listen. We don't have opposition in Uganda. We just have a few angry people.
I listened to you when you were speaking.
We don't have opposition inUganda.
Why don't you listen to me? I am here, a member of the opposition, and we have a leader of the opposition in parliament.
You don't have
so,
just a few angry
what
people.
we see, but you will learn with the time. You will see that what you are talking is not the reality. So, the problem we have is that the priorities of Museveni's government is wrong. The priority is to make sure that the regime, his regime and himself continues to be in power. Look, the former Inspector General Police, someone who was a general also of the UPDF, General Kale Kaihura, with due respect, someone who was given the priority of, yes, we sleep because Kale Kaihura is working. Today he is arrested. And look at even the former Minister of State for Security, Honorable Mama Mbabazi. He was busy making laws to contain the opposition. These laws also turned against him. So you are here today thinking that you are
not coming as opposition or ruling party.
I am speaking as a member of opposition. That's what I represent.
But we are talking about
this is me. I'm talking about myself.
So
do I represent you?
No, but you're not.
No, I was elected on the ticket of opposition. So for me, those of you from the side of NRM who think we are the problem, it will catch up with you.
And on that point, Honorable Fungaru, Hassan Kaps, the MP of Bongi County,
but also be mindful of the citizens.
And who is the chairperson of Parliamentary Committee on Government Assurance Implementation,
mind of the
and Honorable Lydia Wanyoto, Mutende, chairperson NRM Women's League, former ELA MP, AU Deputy Representative to Somalia, Amson.
prefer to leave
and
Ogoni
lawyer.
constituency.
Thanks our viewers for keeping with us.
Four
It's been
terms,
such
we
a
should not
heated
go
and
back to
sensational
protesting.
discussion, and I pray that indeed the state authorities get to dig into this proposition and make the right sensible decision. Please, thanks for keeping with us as NTV. Keep indeed logged on to NTV as your #1 station. I'm Karaga Bodwins. Have a great night.